Hey, welcome to a little bit of a hip release video here this afternoon. So we have been doing a little bit of work around the psoas, our fight or flight muscle, which is where we hold our anxiety, where we get a little bit wound up sometimes, we get a little bit fearful, and we're prepared for that T-Rex doom, where Tyrannosaurus Rex is obviously going to come and get us, and whatever impending doom is possibly worse than death. And so that's why we start to get all this tension that builds up in here, which is why we start to want to stretch that out and release some of that, and so that we don't have that poor little dude in Ice Age that's like clinging on for dear life every time you see him, acorn dude. That's why we do some stretching through the psoas here. And then we've been doing a lot of release work into the hips, the release work around, perhaps it's a fear of moving forward, a fear of relationships, of intimacy, and a whole raft of other things of that emotional baggage that gets stored in this area. So we're going to do a couple of different stretches here. So normally when we're looking into our yoga flows, we come through low lunge, Anjane Asana. You might see crescent lunge, even our warrior one pose, which is a really lovely square to the front, so the hips are squared off and that opening happening through the back and front legs as you tilt the pelvis to work into that space. We're going to do just a couple of short and sweet different exercises here. So we're just coming up on to the knees, and we're going to work a few different angles here. So we're going to step the left foot forward, and you'll notice that I haven't taken a really ginormous step here, so I'm not going into a massive low lunge. What I do want to do is really ground that back right shin into the earth. And as you put the pressure onto that back right shin and lift up and out, you're actually automatically going to feel that stretch into the right hip flexor. So from here, it's just simply a matter of tilting the pelvis and gently shifting that knee forward. So I'm actually quite flexible in this space, but I'm feeling this stretch here because I'm grounding that shin into the earth, lifting up through the front of that right leg, tilting the pelvis forward, drawing the tummy back towards the spine. So I've got that length happening through the back body. Now with this left leg, I want to draw that towards the midline, and then I can take a little bit of that weight, just a smidge, tiny little thing for balancing here. Nothing to see, no weight really being held, because we really want to feel all of that being taken into the back of that shin there, a little bit of weight in the front foot, and you should be able to feel that stretch quite nicely. So you can stay here for as little or as long as you like. So I can feel a really nice stretch here, and in fact you can lift that right arm up to the sky, grab hold of it with the left and give that a little bit of extra stretch there, so you're working into the psoas, which feels quite nice too. So we can hold this here for another 2 breaths. Make sure you're drawing that left knee towards the midline and really pressing that shin into the earth. So don't be afraid to stack things under the knee here too. So if you want a towel or roll up your yoga mat just so that you've got a little bit of extra here. So release that hand back down now, and just come back so that you're bringing the body weight back over that back leg, releasing that stretch. So the next variation that we're going to take here, I haven't shifted the hips forward at all. What I want you to do is feel that pressure down into the leg, tilt the pelvis. I actually want you to feel like there's a little bit of a turn happening. So verbatim, this is how this stretch was described to me. Imagine that you're an 8-year-old boy and that you're trying to pee over your leg. So this, I shit you not, that is the actual description given to me by a chiropractor. So we're going to drop that down, drop the hips down, feel that press down in through that right leg, the tilt of the pelvis, and the action of like lifting up through the perineum so that you're actually feeling that tilt, and you will feel that shift. I can feel that shifting right into the inside of my thigh and into my groin area here. So it's quite a unique and different stretch to where we've gone before. And do I feel like an 8-year-old boy peeing over my right leg? I'm not quite sure that that's, but it was a very good descriptor. So I'm definitely there in terms of the action that we want to achieve in this particular stretch. So again, I'm stretching into the hip flexor region here. Not a massive focus on the psoas, but that pelvic tilt's happening and that twist and that depth through the front there, just allowing that opening to happen. So you can come back out of that stretch, right hand to the floor, swap it on over. Oh, it's feeling quite a release here. And we're going to now step the right foot forward. Here we go with our first stretch. So we're going to press the left shin into the earth. Again, I haven't stepped massively forward here. I'm going to stay back over this left supporting leg. Take a little bit of that weight into the front foot. What we want to do is press the shin into the earth and lift up through the front of the leg. Tilt the pelvis forward, so you're really tucking the pelvis and lifting here, and then you can take that slight drop into the stretch, and you can feel that just in the hip flexor here. So you'll see the difference when if I slide that foot forward and I drop into this stretch here, it's a completely different outcome. I'm staying back here, I'm still getting a massive stretch in this space, so don't think it's not a workout. If you've got the pelvis tilted and you're actually taking that stretch through the front section here in the hip, you're really going to feel that. And what this is going to help with is as you go into your warrior 1 and warrior 2, because you're drawing that foot that knee towards the midline, and you've got the hips nice and squared here, and you're actually not sliding all the weight forward into that front leg, it's really going to help with your warrior 1. So as you're going through your vinyasa, through that, if you're doing your Ashtanga or your Vinyasa, going through that second round of sun salutations where we take warrior 1 and Utkatasana. So I'm still feeling this stretch here. Last time on the other side we took this hand up, so we'll give the psoas a little bit of a go in here. Reaching up with that left hand, I've still got that pelvic tilt happening. I'm still drawing my right leg towards the midline, stretching up and over. And now I'm going to release that hand back down. Release that tilt in the pelvis, just give a little bit of a break for a moment. And we're coming into our second stretch. So the second stretch being the tilt of the pelvis, 8-year-old boy peeing over the other leg. An interesting, honestly, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at the suggestion. Even the receptionist, when I told her what the recommendation was, she was like, I've never heard that descriptor before. But it was a really worthwhile one, because it made you really think about the different shapes and the alignment to get a different stretch. So I share this with you. My knowledge is your knowledge. So pressing that back shin into the earth, lifting up through the front of that leg, tilting the pelvis, and this time we've got that ever so slight twist. We're still drawing this knee back towards the midline, little twist happening, just so we're drawing in and up and in through the perineum as though we are weeing over our right leg. So we're really feeling that twist happening here. So I can feel this quite significantly on this side. I've been working around a little bit of an injury, which was super fun, not really. So this stretch is quite good for me in this space. So again, we're not lunging into that front leg, we're keeping the pressure back on the shin here to lift up, working into that hip flexor, giving ourselves a little bit of a twist here. So we're going to come back out of that pose, take the left hand down towards the earth and just bring the knees back together. Sit back down into the hips and give yourself a little bit of a break here. So I've got quite a tilt happening here in my pelvis. So I'm going to come into a little bit of a balasana just to give the hips a little bit of a rest. So I'm just going to relax the whole body down over the legs. Bring the crown of the head down to the mat. Hands by the side body. And just take a little bit of a chill here. And rolling back up through the body. So we've just done quite a deep stretch into the hip flexor region, and then we've had that tilt So that's created or changed the dynamic of that stretch, so you felt that stretch go a little bit further into the groin on both sides as we did that second round of stretching. So now what I want to do is we're just going to take Padangasana, which is gate pose, and we're just going to open up through that front section, like right through the front body, and we've got sort of the body going in all sorts of, in 4 different directions here, literally. So coming up onto the knees, and we're just going to separate the knees. We're going to take the left foot out to the side, drop the right hand down towards the earth, and lift that left hand up and over. And this stretch, after you've worked into the hips, should actually feel quite nice. Now, I've got a little gentle press happening through the hips, drawing the tummy into the spine, feeling the length. I should have my hand under my elbow, under my shoulder, so there's some stacking happening, and I'm gazing, my dristi is up towards my middle finger, and I'm feeling that really lovely stretch all the way down the side body. So what we've done here is completely changed the dynamic of this stretch, taking the pressure off the front of the hips, even though they're still getting a little bit of a stretch here, particularly the psoas. It's not as intense in the hip flexor as what those previous 2 stretches were. I'm going to exhale and release that hand back down to the earth. Bring the knees together. Left hand goes down, right foot goes out. Inhale as we lift up and over, and I touch the shells and my hand disappears. And I'm feeling that lovely stretch all the way down the side body. Again, hand, elbow, shoulder, stacking. I really do want to take my hand back. I want to take it here, but I can't, so I'm just going to do a weird hand thing here. But you can continue that gaze all the way to the fingertips, your dristi being off into the distance there, feeling that lovely stretch down the side body. Exhale, sweep that hand back down to the floor, and take a little seated restful moment. So these are just a couple of exercises that you can add into your flow. So as you're starting to build your home practice, these become part of your toolkit, so that you can create a different practice every day. So there will be some days when you just think, I don't want to do my own practice, I need Kat to lead a practice for me, and so then you can pick up one of the half-hour, the 30-minute or the hour practices. Sometimes you might like to build your own. So just think of these tutorials as being part of the Build-A-Bear toolkit, so that when you jump on your mat, you go, oh, I remember doing this, or I might try that today. Try and do something that you do on the right, make sure you do that on the left. If you don't remember, you're not going to die. We just come back to the mat, do it another time. But yeah, just working through and slowly, building your own practice, and depending on how your body's feeling on a particular day, you can build it to suit exactly how you feel. So thanks for staying with me on this tutorial.